So today's agenda, we will be going through the Laserfiche licensing requirements and optional licensing features for you to use as part of your HR onboarding lifecycle. We're also going to touch base. I've got a few slides on just the HR lifecycle, recruitment through offboarding, and I'm going to kind of flip back and forth between our PowerPoint presentation and a live demo to kind of keep everything on track and bring everything back to a starting point. We're also going to talk a lot about database connections and how you can use those to create dashboards and update and maintain all of your information. So again, let's get started. So with the licensing, today we are going to focus a lot on Laserfiche Forms. So Laserfiche Forms is, again, a web application that allows you to create and intake information online. So you can take any of your fillable PDF documents or your Word documents, just any of your paper files that you have right now, and convert them to an online digital form with Laserfiche Forms. We are also going to be talking about the Laserfiche Forms portal, which allows you to make forms publicly accessible to users outside of your organization. So in the use case today where you have an applicant and you want them to submit their application to your team for review, in order for that applicant to submit a Laserfiche form, you would need to have the Laserfiche Forms portal available as part of your deployment. We're also going to use some ODBC connections through workflow. So these ODBC connections can push and pull data from SQL tables or maybe your existing HRIS or maybe a CRM of sorts, depending on where you keep your HR information now. Again, the Laserfiche workflow engine is very robust, and as long as that other application allows for an ODBC, we can definitely make a connection and push and pull information to more easily populate data and save you keystrokes. We're also going to take a look at the CDI DocuSign integration. So again, our DocuSign integration is multifaceted, I would say. It allows you to either manually select a document and push it out for signature, or you can incorporate signatures as part of a workflow process, which we'll be taking a look at today. And then once the document is signed, it pulls back into the repository and can rename the document or auto-file it, whatever you need to have happen from there. So to dig into forms a little bit more, this is something I feel like I always need to differentiate for users, because we've got a lot of different attendees on that I know have a variety of different Laserfiche deployments, whether it's Avante or Rio or subscription-based. But a lot of the processes that we are going to look at today rely on Forms Professional. So this is an add-on to some systems such as Avante or Rio, but it's bundled into subscription or cloud. And so if you want to do a database lookup and do those ODBC connections to your existing applications, that would require Laserfiche Forms Professional. Forms Essentials is bundled in if you have workflow, but Forms Professional is that add-on. So when we talk about the HR lifecycle, I imagine a lot of you on here are very familiar with HR and are just kind of here to get some automation ideas, but there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just the recruiting process, it's not just the onboarding, but it's everything in between. Time off request, scheduling meetings internally for training. There's a lot that goes into it. So we're going to start today off with the recruitment process. So this would be, somebody internally saying, my team is at max, I need to hire a new applicant, but we have to get it approved by HR first. So we are going to take a look at what that looks like. So this is, again, a Laserfiche form. And this is just one example of a Laserfiche form, but for accepting or requesting a job requisition. So we can have it tied in so that when you log into your Laserfiche form, it could automatically populate who's requesting this. So I'm going to go ahead and request a new operations role. I'm gonna be Sally today. So I want them to start on Friday. I am very busy. So here I have checkboxes for, where I want to post this job requisition once it gets approved. You can actually have Laserfiche workflow take your job posting and push it to these other, Indeed or LinkedIn or Monster, so that again, when your applicant sees your job posting on Monster, they are directed to fill out a Laserfiche form and submit their application to you for use, potentially. So we're going to go ahead and just submit this. And what we're going to see next is this is going to kick off an approval process. So this is going to route to HR, and HR then has to go through and make sure, we have the ability to take on a new scanning personnel, make sure it's in the budget and everything checks out. So as part of your Laserfiche form, outside of doing a DocuSign signature, you can also do an electronic signature here within Laserfiche. This is really great if you don't need a verifiable digital signature. So you just want somebody to sign off saying, yes, I did approve this. So they can go ahead and incorporate their signature here in this Laserfiche form. So I'm going to approve that. And then it brought me, in my demo environment, it brought me directly to my task in my Laserfiche Forms task box. But I could also have it send me an email, or whomever is getting that notification that there's a new job application or job requisition to review. And so you can format this Laserfiche email to go out and include whatever information you want, and then you can have a link directly to the task. All right, so then once we've pushed out that job requisition, it gets posted to our sites, then we have to start collecting resumes. So before I get too much further into this, I am going to push out a poll for who should we hire? So I like engaging the group. So all of these people listed on the poll have birthdays today. So Cyndi Lauper's birthday is today. Freddie Prinze, and not to be confused with Freddie Prinze Jr. from I Think She's All That. That's not the right Freddie Prinze. So we'll go ahead, and it looks like we are going to onboard Erin Brockovich today. She is our winner, 47%. And nobody voted for Freddie Prinze, probably because it's not the right one. But so Erin Brockovich is going to go ahead and fill out a job application for us. So she gets a link maybe on LinkedIn or through our corporate website, and she can go directly to our job application. So again, in order for Erin to submit this resume to us, we would need to have the Laserfiche Forms portal feature. So we are going to have her fill out a business process consultant resume. So save the water. She has, I have no idea what kind of degree she has, so I am not that up on my Erin Brockovich, but she probably wants a lot of money because she's going to be great. Authorized to work in the US. So again, with this job application form, this is completely customizable. Something I kind of want to mention is that this demo is kind of focused around the CDI infrastructure. So it's got our departments and our job roles, but this can be set up so that it's reflecting your departments or your job roles. So this is all just simply an example of automation that you can pull out. So this job application, you can include your own logo, you can update the information that's being collected, you can make certain fields required so that you're always getting the minimal amount of information that you need. So it's all customizable. And then it can also be dynamic and change with you. So as you are filling out information, when you make certain selections, the form can change with you, or again, you can have tabs like I have up here. So we are going to go ahead and upload resume sample, and then we are going to update CDI welcome guide. And I want to just take note here that I am uploading a document that says CDI welcome guide. I just dragged and dropped, but again, your users can click the upload button and then peruse through their computer, however you want to set that up. And then I'm going to go ahead and submit this. So then Erin has the ability to download her application. You can have an email notification go out to her letting her know that her job application has been submitted, and you'll get back with her, within so many hours or days or however you want to have it see fit. So again, you can customize emails to go out at any point in the process to say whatever you needed to say. So I'm going to push out one more poll here. And I want to know which user interface we should focus on. I think pretty much everybody on today's call is probably a Laserfiche user. And so I'd like to see who's familiar with what. Do we want to look at the web client? Do we want to look at the desktop client? And kind of go from there. All right, so I'm going to close that. Looks like we will be focusing on the web client today, which is great. Again, if you aren't familiar, you haven't heard this, blasted at you from the CDI team before, Laserfiche has pushed forward a web development, web first development approach. So a lot of the changes and feature updates and releases that go out are getting released to the web client first and then getting rolled out to the desktop. And so more and more, the web client is just like the desktop client, with a few minor things here and there. But let's dig in. So we're going to go into our web client. Got to sign into my repository. I just restarted everything, so I didn't get logged in. And so let's take a look at what has happened thus far in my repository. So what we have done is we submitted a job requisition request and we've received an application from Erin Brockovich. And that's all we did. So if I go in here to our human resources folder, I look in job requisitions. If I take a look at in process, I can see that there's a new folder for sales updated today for, what did I do? I did operations. A new scanning position that was updated today here. And if I open it up, we can see the job requisition, take a look at it in the preview if we want, and it's all there. So all of our job requisition details are all listed right in here. And then if I jump into consulting and I look at the business process consultant folder, this is this is the position that Erin had applied for. So we can see that Laserfiche created a folder for each application submission. And if I go ahead and take a look at it, we'll see her cover letter is here, her resume is here, and that original form submission that she had completed. Now, something I want to point out is if you recall when I filled out the application for Erin, I had attached a PDF document that said CDI welcome guide. Again, Laserfiche workflow has the ability to rename your documents based on, requirements that you set up. And so it took whatever she named it and named it the cover letter because that's how I know what it is in my repository. So again, if we click it, we can go ahead and preview it and you can just see welcome guide, or we could take a look at her resume if we wanted to, and then show the preview right there. The preview is something that is available in the desktop. This is actually something I personally have really grown to love. So if you're not using the preview tab, I definitely recommend it, especially if you don't have to open the document. You just need to glance at what it is. I find it saves quite a bit of time. All right, so next step is we need to go ahead and review our job applicants. We need to hire somebody for this job role. We need to get somebody in the door. So here again, we're taking a look at a Laserfiche form. And I have the ability to select the department I want to review, and it just automatically populates my open jobs. If I were to select sales, again, it would populate my open jobs, and there's only one applicant for that. So this is a dashboard, one of those dashboards that I had mentioned. And if I want to select a specific applicant, I can go ahead and select it, and then I could say view application, view resume, view cover letter, and then it will pull up an embedded iframe of that document right here in the form, so that I don't have to necessarily go into the Laserfiche repository and look at all of the details. It just displays it right here for me. But if I want to take it one step further and I want to compare all the applicants, if I click on all applicants, we'll be able to see here all of the applicants that have submitted resumes for this job role. And so we'll use this dashboard to create a job offer, to hire, and all of that with our HR management. So we really liked Erin. We're going to go ahead and create a job offer. I'm going to kind of skip some of these steps because they don't necessarily do anything, but they could. You could have it just select as reviewed. If you have multiple HR managers and you've taken the time to go ahead and review it, you can click that so that, you know, as new applicants keep popping in, you know which ones you've reviewed, which ones you haven't. You can use this to indicate whether you've set up an interview or scheduled it, you know, whatever you need. And then this one here, create a offer, is going to create a fillable Word document for us. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I want to create an offer, update it, and then hit submit. So then if I pop back into my repository and we do a little refresh here, we'll be able to see that Workflow has created a job offer letter for Erin. I'm going to go ahead and just show the preview. So it populated some of her contact information from that form submission that she had originally sent in. So again, I haven't had to type anything in. I'm just reviewing the information that was submitted to me. And then from here, I could go ahead and download it, update the salary information, maybe route it for approval, and then it goes out for signature. You could simply just right click on it and send it out to Erin for review from there, or Workflow could automatically kick off and email it to her, or you could send it through DocuSign. You know, you have a lot of options for how you get that job offer to her. So now if we go back into our applicants area, we have decided that Erin's great. She is the right fit. She accepted our lowball offer, and we're going to go ahead and hire her. So I'm going to jump over to hired, and I'm going to click update. Yes. All right, so let me pull this up. So we went through recruiting, and now we're going through onboarding. So again, onboarding is the new hire paperwork. It's the departmental coordination, making sure that her desk is set up, making sure that she's got a training plan built out, that she's getting her benefits enrollment information for the simple IRA or insurance. It's a lot of different things, and a lot of people need to be a part of that process. And so you can coordinate tasks to get assigned out to whomever needs to get assigned based on the applicant's job role or responsibilities that come up. So if I jump back in over here, we're also going to take a look and see what happens. So again, I have another refresh. I'm going to refresh that. I'm going to come up here and just refresh totally. And so now if I go back into the job requisition, business process consultant, job applicant folder, we'll see that Erin Brockovich's folder is no longer in here. And it is because workflow automatically moved her to employee files. So if we go into consulting, we'll be able to see Erin Brockovich's folder is here. If I open it up, again, the Laserfiche workflow has structured her subfolder structure for us. So again, I didn't have to create any of this. Workflow just does it as motions and things change throughout the repository. So in her new hire files, we see, her W-4, her non-compete, her I-9. Any of your standardized new hire forms can be incorporated in a DocuSign envelope and go directly out to Erin for signature, which we'll take a look at shortly. But then again, in her pre-hire files, we've got the resume submission, the offer letter, all of that, all right here, all renamed based on our requirements. So I'm going to go ahead and actually complete the DocuSign envelope. So once again, we have decided as an organization to onboard Erin, and so that kicks off her onboarding. And this is what Erin would receive, or your new hire would receive: a DocuSign envelope where you can customize what the email says, you can customize, who it's coming from, all of that. Then if we click it, it will walk us through all of the new hire documents that she needs to complete. So she's going to go ahead and I agree to use these electronic signatures. We can see in the non-compete that it's populated some of her contact details and her start date. We're going to go ahead and just click start. Erin is signing here, completing the W-4. Something also really neat about our Cities Digital or CDI DocuSign integration is that when you send an envelope out, if they make updates in the W-4 or any of the documents, they fill out any of the fields, these fields can become metadata in your system, and you can use workflow to say, oh, when we filled this out, we accidentally spelled her last name wrong. And then when she fills out the W-4 and it comes in correct, that can do kind of a sync and update it so that the information is correct all across her documentation. So any field that gets filled out here, you can incorporate as metadata in your Laserfiche system. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish that out. Again, once a DocuSign envelope is signed, the end user will get an email copy of the signed documents, and a copy of them will get pushed into her folder in the repository as well. So again, right now we can see unsigned versions. When I come back to this in a little while, we will see that workflow has brought them in and updated it to say the signed copy. So that will just take a minute. While we wait for that, let's go back to our forms tasks. And again, as onboarding, it's not just the new hire paperwork. There's a lot of collaboration internally. And so here we had a new hire task get blasted out. I'm not going to click on it there because I want to click on the email. So I also got an email for new hire tasks. So I'm going to go ahead and just click this. It's going to bring me directly to my task. So this, again, can create separate task lists for each department or each manager or each person who needs to be involved in the onboarding of any employee to your organization. So this is just an IT example. They have to go ahead and set up the Active Directory account, get her set up with Outlook, CRM, all this good stuff. And then they can go ahead and check that off and then set up complete. And then maybe that can send an email notification to HR so that they know, everything has been completed. Maybe the department manager knows so that they can start their next steps, however you need it to flow. So you can have one task go out, and then once that's completed, then it blasts out to the rest of the team members. That's actually how we have it set up here at CDI. That new hire needs to have an email address before I can create them, a CRM user, or get them access to the phone system, or set up any of those other logins that they might need. So again, you can have your onboarding tasks go out in any order that you see fit. So now if I jump back in here, we're going to do this quick refresh. And we'll be able to see it has removed the unsigned documents and replaced the W-4 and the non-compete with the signed copies. So if we take a look again, we'll be able to see the DocuSign envelope information up here. If I take a look at the fields, one thing that is missing from my demo, which is really unfortunate, is the records management piece. That is really important with HR, ensuring that you are storing your documents for the appropriate period of time based on, that employee's life cycle. So again, Laserfiche records management can be time and or event based. So, it comes in and based on the document type selected. So this is, if we had a non-compete typed in here, workflow would see, oh, I see your document type is non-compete, and it would put it in the appropriate record schedule for us automatically. And then as Erin, proceeds through her employment with the organization, once she gets terminated, that kicks off the retention. And so we do have lots of document management or records management webinars already out there and recorded on our YouTube channel. So if you're interested in learning more, definitely reach out. Otherwise, feel free to take a look at any of those pre-recorded webinars. But I know that is missing from this, and I apologize. But again, the W-4 is here. And if we take a look at the document preview, the fields that were typed in, Laura Froyam, are now here on this document with the DocuSign envelope information. So we've got her onboarded. Now let's take a look at what else we can do. So Erin has been working. She is ready to take a day off. She's like, I am done with this. So we have our time off request, and she can go ahead and select her name, or again, you can have the form automatically capture who is submitting it, what date she wants to request off. We're gonna do 16 hours of PTO. I mean, she just started. I don't know how I feel about this. So the time off request goes out, and again, you can have a task assigned with that. So maybe HR needs to approve that she has time off for this, and then she can notify, or HR can notify Erin that you have to take this as unpaid. You literally just started. So they can certainly do that. Unpaid. Go ahead and approve that. And then that will get added to the calendar. Erin will get a notification. Fine, you can have this time off, but it's unpaid. We can also go ahead and fill out a warning. So again, Erin just started and she is already requesting time off, multiple days. I'm not so sure about that. Oh, she's not her own manager. Barry is her manager. Erin is the team member. She's going to get a written warning. Policies and procedures. So again, if you need to request a warning or you need to work with HR to create an employee warning, you could have a forms process for that. So the manager initiates the process, it goes to HR for review. You can include supplemental documents if you need to. We're going to go ahead and submit that. And then once you've gone through your review process, it can actually create the standardized warning documentation for you. So it can create a fillable Word document template for you saying, hey, this is your written warning. Take a look at it. So let's see what that looks like. So again, in my email, Erin, you've received a warning, or maybe this goes to the manager, attaches the written warning for Erin. It's been stored in the file. So if I go ahead and open it, we can take a look at what that looks like. Again, if you've got your own standardized document or template type that you want to use, we can push all the information that was collected in the form into that standardized template so you don't have to do that yourself. We're gonna X out of that. All right, so onboarding, Develop and retain. Another thing that we can do here as part of the HR lifecycle is the employee infraction. So we went through and we did a warning. We can also do a review. So let's take a look at what that process can look like. So if I go in here to employee reviews, we can select our employee from the dropdown. And as you see, as I selected Erin's name, an issue log popped up. So if your employees got warnings throughout the year, or maybe they had a positive feedback or a Yelp submission, we actually do that internally here at CDI as we submit Yelps for employees who are doing a really great job. We can give them a shout out so everybody in the company sees how great they're doing or the positive feedback that we received. So those types of submissions can be included in your warning. And then if you go through, all of these requirements and performance goals are actually based off of the job description that we have outlined. And so if we wanted to add more, we could add more, but based on the job description that we had posted for this, business process consultant job, here's exactly what she's getting reviewed on. So there's no question as to what she should be doing and then what, she's getting graded on essentially. And you don't have to use a grade. I know that some organizations definitely shy away from supplying a grade of types and they call it something else. So you have the ability to do whatever you want. So then you can do review questions. These are just, standard policy questions. Are they adhering to the policy and procedures? So we're just going to go ahead and give Erin 3s. She's fine outside of her time off request. So on our form, these little stars, again, indicate required fields. So we're always getting the minimal required amount of information that we need. Feedback and growth. So if you wanted, while you were sitting down and you were going through Erin's review with her, you can get feedback from her. So you can ask her, have there been any changes you'd like to discuss? No, she loves working with CDI, which is great. We can also include growth plan initiatives. So, maybe by the 30th, she wants to be fully gold certified through Laserfiche. So next year, when we go ahead and do her review, this growth plan will be notated on her review submission so that we don't lose track of the growth that she is working towards, and we can keep her on task and ensure that she's hitting the milestones that we expect her to hit. And then there's the manager summary, which just gives an overall average, and you can go ahead and plop in a recommended compensation change. And then from here, once the review is complete, it goes through a series of approvals. So it's going to go to, a manager, a department supervisor, again, whichever flow you need it to go to, it can do that. So ours goes to president for approval. So he says, looks good. No more time off. President approval. So then again, because I'm in my demo environment, it brings me directly to the next reviewer, which is the manager. And we can see over here on the right-hand side, the action history associated with this particular task. So I can see the president approved it, and now the manager, is in process here. So I actually just want to give her 1%. She was just hired hours ago. She doesn't need a 3% raise immediately. Go ahead and submit the manager approval. And again, from here, it can send a copy of the review to Erin. So she's got it in her email for her records. And it also stores a copy of it within her employee folder. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Got a few extra open windows here. So now if we go into Erin's folder, I'm going to go ahead and just do a refresh. And we'll see here that she's got some new subfolders that were created. Something that CDI recommends as a best practice is that you don't create a folder for everything imaginable unless there's something to put in it. Because how frustrating is it to go into Erin's folder and look in disciplinary files and see, oh, she doesn't actually have any, or she hasn't had a performance review. And so again, if you have your automation built out in the system, that can create the folder structure for you so that you don't have to do that yourself. And then you don't have a bunch of just empty folders sitting around in your repository. So again, it created the disciplinary file. Copy of her warning is here. Performance reviews are here. There's that editable Word document. Let's take a look at that. So through that Laserfiche form submission, it pushed all of those details into a Word template for us. So it makes it look a little bit better. This is what you can sit down and go through with Erin, in person, so she can see, what was said and all of that. All right. So then we have reached our employment life cycle with Erin. Her time off was just such a problem. We're going to go ahead and offboard her. And like onboarding, a lot of people and a lot of departmental coordination need to be included in offboarding. And so let's take a look at what that looks like. And also I want to just kind of notate, I keep coming back to this screen. This is actually a Laserfiche form. It's a dashboard to give me all of the links and information that I need, in one handy view. So if I were doing a different type of demo, my submission and my information would change. And so I can have a dashboard set up for my internal use. And actually, let's take a look at what CDI uses. This is our Cities Digital, our CDI dashboard, and this is what our entire company uses. This saves everyone so much time. All of the links that we need, all of the forms that we fill out, any helpful resources are all available in one single screen. And this is something that you can do. This is something that does require Forms Professional because it does do database lookups. It brings in documents and things like that, or links to documents. But this is something you can set up. And I had mentioned Yelps. Shout out to Jeff for being great. He got a shout out from Jen on our team for some positive support feedback. So we love that. Thank you, Jeff. So again, just another example of how you could be using Laserfiche Forms. So if I jump back over here, we want to go ahead and terminate Erin. She's getting terminated tomorrow. We're just going to let her finish out the day. She's had a very busy day full of reviews and write-ups. Erin Brockridge. So once that is initiated, again, we are going to have an approval step. So if I jump into my task box, I'm going to hit F5 and do a refresh here. So now we have a new task for terminating Erin. If I click it to open it, or if I were to click the link in the email that I received, this goes to HR. So HR review, they can go ahead and say, okay, yep, we have everything we need. And then this starts the offboarding process. So again, collaborating with all of the departments, the supervisor, the manager, IT, letting them all know that there's something that has to be completed. So again, another series of tasks go out. So this one is for HR, just to verify that the COBRA is all set up, the last payroll, all this great stuff. Send out that notification to staff, can be completed. So that's just one task. Oh, we're slowing down. Just going to do a quick refresh of my box here. And two, again, based on this employment termination, this can signal to the records management module that this employee is now terminated as of this date, and now our retention on these files needs to be XYZ because they're no longer an active employee, so we only have to keep the files for this long. So that is all just tied together, and that's something that's just happening in the background. So again, we can see here that I've got a couple of tasks now. So this is the department supervisor, this is the IT task. So we're just gonna knock those out quick. So again, this is a separate task list. And if you want to have your supervisors held accountable, you can have them have a separate Laserfiche task for each of these items instead of having a checklist. It's totally up to you how you want to set that up. Hopefully I'm not going too fast. I don't know. I got an internet bug here where I'm at today, it seems like now. All right, let's jump and see if it has moved Erin's folder yet. Not quite yet. She's still an active consulting employee. She's not moved yet because we have to finish all of our tasks. Taking a little while. Complete. So that last task, I hit it really fast, but essentially what it did was combine everybody's task list into one, and then sent it to HR for final approval. So once HR receives the notification that everybody's gone through everything that they need to go through, it combines it into one final task for them to approve. And then if we come back in here, now we got a new refresh icon. Just gonna do another refresh quick. If we go back into consulting, Erin's folder is no longer here. She got moved into past employees, Erin Brockovich, and all of our details are right here, as well as her termination form right at the top, so we can see, what information we would need to see right away. So you can have that tie into COBRA notifications that go out, those task lists, anything you would need to offboard an employee. So we talked a lot about dashboards already, but you can also have a handy dashboard for just managing your employees in general and seeing who has what time available and all sorts of things. So let me show you a couple of other options here. So if we click on this HR dashboard, this is showing me a list of all of our active employees. And then it's displaying the information that I might want to see. So it says what department they're with, what their position is, email, when their last review was, when their next review is due. And so based on this life cycle, or when they were hired and your review cycle, Laserfiche can automatically add a next review date and send out an email notification saying, hey, Derek's review is coming up. You need to take action. And so you're never letting these, fall to the wayside. They're always happening on time, as expected. And then you can also have PTO calculated. So again, based on whatever your standard policies and procedures are, you can, when you onboard an employee, you can apply a bank of hours at any point, maybe after 6 months, they get so much time, or they accrue it, for every so many hours worked, they accrue this. And so Laserfiche Forms and Laserfiche Workflow is smart enough to make those calculations for you so that you don't have to manage that in your head. And you don't have to rely on a separate application just for, those types of calculations. It can do it for you. Again, this is just an example. And then we've got our open jobs. So any of these open positions we can see listed here. So we're trying to hire for all of these. So again, just another handy dashboard to show you the information you need in a way that maybe is relevant. So from here, what's next? If you want to learn more, or if you're interested in doing, another one-on-one demo, please reach out. That is what CDI is here for. We are here to help you learn about what Laserfiche can do and also help you, get there. So don't hesitate to reach out. So now let's kind of jump into the questions. I did see we had a few questions come through. Do you have that hooked up to SQL on the back? Yes. So those tables and the information, from the tables, like the review form, the departments, those things are all located in the SQL table. And so you can have a form that will update that SQL table when you make changes or query the information from the SQL table to pull back the information that is relevant. So yes, a lot of, basically all of those processes that I just went through today are all SQL table based in the backend. All right. Not a lot of questions this week. Any other questions? New question here that popped up. Are the dashboards created as a form? Yes, those forms, dashboards that I showed, this is a Laserfiche form. It might have a little bit of custom like CSS or whatever it is, but this is just a Laserfiche form that you could incorporate and build on your own. Our team can provide you the training on how to do it, or we can build it out for you either way. But as long as you have Laserfiche Forms Professional, you would be able to build a dashboard like this. All right. So I also want to throw out there, we've got a couple of, we do webinars every month. The next few coming up, elevate your business license application process. So that's a build along for business licenses, whether you're collecting liquor licenses or, dog licenses or, whatever it may be, you can elevate your business license application process. And then also, one of the ones that I'm really excited about, this was feedback that we got from one of our last month's webinar, is can you use Laserfiche Forms to manage bid solicitations? And you bet you can. And so we've incorporated that into our webinar cycle for next month. All of these are available for registration through our cdi.support website. So feel free to go ahead and take advantage of those. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel. So if you don't get a chance to watch them, when they're live, you can go ahead and just watch the webinar recording afterwards. And then that is it. Again, please take a couple minutes to fill out the survey, give us your feedback, and let us know how we can better help you in the future. Thank you, everyone. Bye.